Being a Black creator in this digital landscape can be interesting.
It's rough. This Black History Month was crickets. I was like, oh.
This is Maggie, also known as CharisMaggie, a food and culture content creator, founder of the podcast Dear Content Creator, and most recently a participant in the Pinterest Inclusion Fund, an incubator program in its 5th year designed to support emerging content suppliers on Pinterest. And as a Pinterest hype woman, educator, and someone who has been floating around the same virtual circles as Maggie for the past 9 years, I'm so honored that I got to chat with her about her journey and her experience in Pinterest program. A program that Pinterest seems to be continuing to invest in when similar initiatives from other companies seem to be rapidly disappearing. Oh, and I do want to share that while this video is brought to you in partnership with Pinterest, all of the thoughts and opinions shared by Maggie and I are our own. Grab your cup of tea and let's see what's up. Tell me a bit about how you got started 9 years ago. What kicked off your content creator journey?
Honestly, it was never something that I intended to do like in this capacity that we have right now. I came here to Canada as an international student. I was going to school in Newfoundland and I just had friends who would always ask me questions or even just people who we had mutual. So they would send me a message on like Facebook. Like, how do I find a school in Canada? What is it like living in Canada? All these questions. So I was like, okay, I'm kind of tired of repeating myself because I'm saying the same thing. So I said, I'm just going to start a YouTube channel for that purpose. And along the journey, it just got to be something that I just really use as my creative outlet. I would say I allowed myself very earlier on to really dabble. So while everyone was saying niche down, I was like, actually, no, because I don't really even know what I want to do. I just don't want to be boxed into something because I'm not just this person. This is not the only thing I like. And I'm also still trying to figure it out. I think it developed a bit more when I moved to Toronto. That's when the story evolves a bit more to the content I do now, which is food and culture. So I'm in a more diversity. Access to doing certain type of content in that regard is easier because where I went to school, we probably had three restaurants and everything else was fast food. So I truly believe that where you're living and how your life is evolving as well is going to determine the type of content you do. And we have permission as creators to evolve as well because we're not like, stagnant. We have to grow and sometimes the content is going to grow with us as well and pivot in that way as well.
I so relate to that. I cannot count how many pivots and side quests and ventures I've had as a creator. I'm really curious with the food and culture. What was it that drew you to it and also made you want to share that online with people?
It really sparked a bit more when I moved here. I was kind of craving some of the things I missed when I lived in Newfoundland. So we did a lot of potlucks. We did a lot of cooking. You're inviting people over, you're hosting, right? And so a lot of people who went to the school with me who were also international students, that's how we connected. It was bring a dish from your culture. And I think that is what really made me be more curious about food. And then I just always grew up having a lot of different cultural foods in my household. So being born in Guyana and then my parents are from Haiti, but then we were living in Jamaica and that's where I grew up. Bits and pieces of those memories was coming to me as well. And I think it just allowed me to do it in a more accessible way when I did come to Toronto, but specifically when the pandemic hit, I was noticing a lot of places that I loved dining at, some of them closed down. It really broke my heart. And I know for me, a lot of these places gave me a piece of home. And for others in Toronto, it gave them a piece of home. So I wanted to use my platform to bring awareness to those smaller restaurants that we have, specifically ethnic cuisine. So I'm not a burger girl. I'm not a pizza girl. I'm very much like wanting to try other cultural cuisines and kind of see how they're similar or different. What can I identify in my own culture that's similar in another one? And, just seeing how we are doing foods in a similar but also different way. That just excites me.
So given that, how has the more maybe business side of your content creation journey evolved?
It is still a work in progress, if I'm being honest with you, because it wasn't until last year that I've actually been able to get brand deals where I can say, you know what, this opportunity that I have, I'm able to then allocate certain times throughout the year that I am helping out small businesses without them having to pay. Because the truth is, like, if you're going to charge small businesses, realistically, even your small business fee, they probably won't be able to afford it. And a lot of businesses in the restaurant industry, that's how it is, especially the ones that I care about highlighting. They just don't have that budget. And so the expectations for smaller businesses versus a brand is a bit different because they understand the power of like, well, I can boost the content or they can license it from you and use it. Smaller businesses are still catching up. They don't understand that concept. So when they're coming to an influencer, they're expecting that you're helping them blow up. So
yeah. You're like, why didn't this go viral?
Exactly.
It is true. Like, we are small businesses too. We need to be compensated for our work. But the reality is, especially if you want to focus on and uplift small businesses, marginalized businesses, they are often already at a bit of a disadvantage and don't have the funds to do an awareness campaign with a creator the way a large brand can. They are focusing on conversions, they're focusing on sales, when really as creators, we are that top of the funnel. We're a single touch point of awareness for them. If you can focus on these larger brands that get it, it can subsidize your love for highlighting small businesses. They don't have to like bear that weight of a formal partnership. So it's only been about the past year or so. Have you felt that being Black in this digital landscape has affected this?
Oh, yeah. Truthfully, I feel like whenever I have gotten opportunities, there was always someone on the team that was Black that advocated, I would say, for me to be a part of that roster, to even be included in campaigns that are happening, right? So I believe that that is what has helped me get some of the opportunities that I did get, or they are also from a marginalized community, so they also get it. They can resonate with me to some degree based on what I talk about and the interests that they have as well. Yeah, it definitely plays a part. And we have seen that now it's even more crickets. It's rough. I'm telling you, like this Black History Month was the DMs and the emails, it was crickets. I was like,
Dry.
oh, this is new. Usually that's when they're coming. This year, nothing.
I think a lot of us look back to 2020 as the year that people stepped up, whether genuinely or for show, supporting Black businesses and Black creators. I'd love to hear if you had noticed an uptick of anything and how that's maybe changed over time.
I have a perfect example because I remembered at the time, all of a sudden, I saw programs being created to prioritize us as creators. And I was on the lookout for so many of them. I don't even know if I should say the name, but there was one in particular that started, but it started in the US first. And then eventually it opened up to Canadian creators and I think UK. I kid you not, maybe the year before or last year, like they just didn't have an application. No words.
Like nothing, no announcement that it was gone. Just
to say it's completely done now. I know every year when they had applications because I was on it, like rice and peas. Okay. So, or white on rice as they would say. I was looking forward to this program because I'm like, this is the platform I started on when I just started as a creator. This would definitely help me because I saw how it helped other creators and it just never worked out for me, but I still said I would try and apply. The time came to apply and there was nothing on the website updated. I was like, oh, and then I heard through the grapevine that, yeah, the program is officially over. And I was like, that checks with the climate that we're in. You know, they wrapped it up. So noted. So, yeah.
yeah, I think we'll leave it at that. I feel like that is the perfect segue into the Pinterest Inclusion Fund. First, major congratulations to you.
Thank you.
What is the program in your own words?
I see it as a program that was all about bringing creators from different backgrounds and representation so that users of the platform could see themselves represented in the content when they are searching for pins. So whether that has to do with body type or size, hair type, skin tone, and also height. that is the best way I could really describe the program. And I could see that in the selection of the 50 creators who were part of that program as well. So truly grateful for that opportunity.
Given everything that we just talked about, what does it mean for, a company like Pinterest, a global brand, to not only be focusing on inclusion, but like still doing it when everyone else has kind of dropped off?
I would say it makes me more invested. I think as creators, we all want to create content, but we also give our energy to the platforms that seem to prioritize us as well. So if the platforms are creating programs that cater to us and help us to grow and be successful, that is usually what you will notice the trend in creators like heavily investing on a platform. And for me, I almost didn't apply because I was like, the way I think of Pinterest is like, okay, I have to take pictures and it has to be like this certain type of way. And knowing how I make content, it was not like reflective in what I saw on Pinterest. But truly, the way I like pitched myself and like talked about my goals, I think that they could really see what I could bring to the table and give me the shot to also explore this other platform that I have been using for a while, but maybe I'm just not aware of how to properly use it. So that program also helped us to learn, but it really just opened up my eyes more to just Pinterest and the underrated value that it has for creators, especially when we live in a time when you are feeling the pressure of numbers and followers. I feel like this is a platform that truly takes away that barrier because it's solely dependent on you being intentional with your keywords, with SEO, putting time into your descriptions, your title to bring value to pinners who are actively looking for things. So it challenged me in how I look at ways I can make content, and I find joy in doing it. So I'm pinning all the time now. So it's been amazing.
What appealed to you about the opportunity itself?
I really think it has to do with me being able to be a resource and being a representation for people like me who would be going on the platform. I think truly representation can only be there if people like us are also on those platforms representing ourselves and our community. So instead of just complaining about not seeing enough Black women, I became one of those people who would then share content to help other Black women. You know what I mean? So I was using Pinterest heavily when I was planning for my wedding, which happened 2 years ago, well, almost 2 years ago. And so even in that whole like time, I was like, it was so hard for me to find content related to like Black brides. So now I made my own, area where people who are looking for inspo for Black brides can find that content. So yeah, it was really just knowing how I was using Pinterest as a user almost 2 years ago. So when that opportunity came up, I was like, this must be a sign because I've been talking so much. And even we have talked about Pinterest, my goals of wanting to be on Pinterest. And so that's why when I got through the program, like you were one of the first persons I had to tell because we had a heart-to-heart talk about how I could use it. And I was taking a lot of your advice to really, hone in on it. But I don't think it was until I got that opportunity where I got a bit more hand holding, I guess you could say, to really show me the possibilities of what I could do. And I'm seeing the results. I started off in the program with maybe 1K monthly visits, and at the end it was at 5K. So
Amazing.
that was just with 45 pins. So imagine if I am pinning every day. Like,
You want to share like some of the key takeaways that you got from the program?
there was a tool in particular. It was a trending tool, basically just looking at how you're able to see what's trending in your country and you can intentionally make content related to that and also plan ahead instead of always relying on making content in the moment where it seems like that is usually what the other platforms are about, where it has to be relevant at that time. It allows you to have more evergreen. It's almost like YouTube with the evergreen like aspect to it, but it's not as much pressure Because with YouTube, you have to make a long form video and it's like a whole thing, script, whatever. With this, you can have fun with it and you can experiment. There's less pressure of how a pin will perform because no one's seeing your, analytics. It's just you. And I feel like when you upload a video on the other platforms, it's like this almost anxiety, especially if you have a certain amount of follows, like, oh my gosh, that's the amount of views her videos got. So I think it just allows me to relax. It's my safe space right now. And it just challenges me to also remember that I am more than just a creator who's interested in food. There are other aspects to me that I'm interested in, and Pinterest is a way that I can explore those other interests as well.
I really relate to the exploring of different aspects because I feel like you have the stuff that faces the audience, and then I have like a million sideboards that are like private that I'm using to explore every single thing about myself, like setting up my office, like getting into makeup. Like it really allows you to just play. And that actually makes me think about another thing I love about Pinterest and their focus and devotion to inclusivity. I'm thinking of their search refinement tools, their skin tone ranges, and their hair pattern search. The first time I used the hair pattern tool, which for those of you who are not familiar with it, if you search, a random hairstyle, some hair patterns will pop up along the top to help you refine your search and find hair textures that look like yours. So for me, when I first used it, I literally got emotional because I was so used to having to type in hairstyles for Black people. Whereas I find with the hair pattern tool, it puts everybody kind of on the same playing field, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I've identified, where I've seen it as well, like exactly what you said. I tried it as like a pinner and I'm like, my soul, I think this is so nice. Like finally. Also, one of the things that we did talk about in our sessions was the fact that we wouldn't have to worry about putting in certain descriptions or keywords so that the platform would know that, okay, that hand is a darker skin tone. Like it would just identify. So it allowed us to just show up, like just put out the content, show all parts of you, your skin tone, your size, all of these things, and it will filter it for you so that it is assigning it to the correct, like it's very smart how they're working the algorithms and these tools that they have. So it's taken more work away from us where we have to actively think about doing that all the time.
I don't think I realized that benefit because I've been thinking about it from the perspective of a pinner. That's such a mental load that you no longer have to think about as a creator. So how has your strategy changed through the Inclusion Fund program?
I would say I definitely use it more as a research tool to come up with inspiration. So when I'm thinking of, okay, what are the gaps? I'm using it as a way to search what people are probably looking for. And then I can also use my analytics based on how often you pin. The more you pin, the more analytics you can get over time. It's just like any other platform. You have to post in order to receive analytics. It's definitely allowed me to be more intentional with before I pin something. It's like, okay, how will this be helpful for somebody? I know that they currently have a feature that you can auto post your content from Instagram onto Pinterest, but I've been even more intentional that yes, even though that's on, I'll literally go on every single week at the end of the week and clean it up so that it's showing what's relevant to the platform. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be lazy with the pins that I'm putting, or I'll adjust the titles and make it more user friendly for people who are searching. So that's one thing I would say. It's not just an afterthought platform for me. It's part of my strategy of how I'm not only bringing traffic to maybe my other pages, but how I'm now finding ways to make income. Affiliate marketing is something I didn't think about a lot when I just started. And I actually just did a podcast episode talking about this, where it is something that I want to leverage more because not all the time brands will have budgets to pay you, but you could make a little something, something if you're already talking about the product and you love it. It's like, why not? So I've been definitely looking into it a bit more for that reason too, of how I can passively get, income as well.
Do you have any final words of advice for creators just trying to make it in this space?
Honestly, give yourself the opportunity to play and test around with things. No one started out with doing something that they're successful with right now. Like it wasn't the first thing they probably initially did. You're gonna make mistakes. It's not gonna always be the best results that you're looking for, but what they are lessons that you can definitely use to make the next piece of content better. And sometimes it's just a matter of timing. Sometimes it's just a matter of tweaking one little thing. But it's okay. It's part of the process. I think failure gets a bad rep, but over here, I honestly am not afraid to fail. I literally just released my first digital product ever, and I'm like,
Hey, congratulations.
even that, I'm like, we'll see what happens. Like, it's my first one. We'll see how it goes. And if it does well, it does well. If it doesn't, at least I now have the tools to get me to the point where I can make something. And, it's just a learning process. So, yeah.
What is your Pinterest handle? Where can they find you? And what are some of the other corners of the internet that people can catch up with you on?
You can find me on all the platforms, including Pinterest at CharisMaggie TV. Same name, same spelling across all social media platforms.
Go check Maggie out, and I hope you enjoyed our conversation. If you want to learn more about how you can leverage Pinterest in your own content strategy, I have an entire playlist for you to binge. Begin your journey over here and let me know if you enjoyed this podcast style video. I have a lot of content creator friends with some interesting stories. Thanks for watching, and until next time.